Okay, let's start rolling solo. A crescent moon peeks through scattered clouds above a small desert town on a railroad. There's not much to this town. It's like many you've seen before, except it's in a valley with a river, and people here seem to be settling in. They have gardens. They have there's a bit of what you might think of as urban sprawl on a tiny town, in a tiny town kind of sense, where there are houses that are go out farther away from the town center, and clearly this is somewhere where people are not merely settled into mine residuum, but this is a place where perhaps people want to stay, build a life. A trace of foxfire runs along the railroad tracks in the center of town, creeps along, flickering bluish, greenish, sickeningly greenish light, flickers across the tracks, and underneath a large steam engine which sits on a side track, awaiting the dawn to take off again with passengers and freight. It begins to surround the engine with this greenish light. It starts to warp and bend. The engine and the car behind it sort of start to pivot upwards and rise off of the track. And there's a horrible shrieking and groaning of metal as the engine breaks in half and becomes a head and a body. Legs extend out from the metal, and as it seems to extend and grow into a horrifying creature, hundreds of feet tall, or at least 100 feet tall. Which looks something like that. Glowing with the furnace fires of its coal powered engine, or it's, I suppose here it's probably powered by, we'll go with coal, why not? The Essentia mining culture perhaps has led out to where its engines, but in any case, this beast glows with a hideous orange glow underneath its body. And it stands up and it begins tearing through the town. Huge sweeps of its head, just destroying block after block of buildings. And that's when the screaming starts. We see the telegraph operator sitting in his shack, half asleep. It's a quiet night. Nobody hears anything. Raises his head and begins frantically pounding on the keys until, with a stomp, his shack is gone. And we fade to black. In a tavern, in the small city of Havilah, far to the eastern side of the drylands, bets are being placed. As the local champion faces off with who knows how many bags of gold on the table against Dusog, the freeborn stone sylph brawler juggernaut. Stands confidently as tables are cleared away and a makeshift ring is formed. A circle of people gather around. Terrace, we see sitting at the bar with her back to the fight, drinking what looks like a whiskey. And kicked back with a beer and a grin. And empty holsters. There's no weapons allowed in this bar. Is Aribia, the Dust Devil Duneborn, with the wind blowing her hair about. Terrace, the Theris, with her glowing eyes looking away. The two of them have different attitudes about this. Aribia likes seeing a good fight and has confidence in her boy that he will do well in this battle. Standing across from him is a orcish woman, hulking, large muscular shoulders, savage grin, teeth missing, nose plastered flat, cauliflower ears, ready to scramble and brawl. And a man steps into the corner, says, "You'll start when this kerchief hits the ground." He lets go, dashes backwards out of the circle, and before the kerchief even hits the ground, the two combatants clash together. And I am going to start out by spending a fear to take initiative. And spending another fear for a body slam. So the orcish woman rushes in, grabs Dusog, and attempts to lift him and slam him to the ground. That's a 3 plus 2 is 5. Dusog is a 13 evasion. He easily slips to the side and comes in ready to make his own attack. Nothing fancy. He's just going to hop in and make a strike. Okay. That's a 20 with hope. That will definitely hit. Let's pick up that hope. She tries to make this grab. He slips underneath. Goes for the straight for a body shot. Trying to knock the wind out of this opponent. And will do. Being a brawler. 2d10 plus 2d6 damage. Let's find some d6s. And let's find some d10s. Okay. Alright, that's 5, that's 6, that's 10, that's 11, that's 5, that's 15 damage. 15 damage will be... major damage, and the bruiser will respond. They will immediately repop, despite the fact that that was a shot with hope. They get a counterpunch. So he comes in, punches, and immediately ducks underneath the swing to the jaw. And simply slips another shot and comes in roaring again. But I'm going to spend another fear and activate the bruiser, who will take a jab. Wow. We just take a moment to just respect the story the dice are telling of a fairly one-sided fight at the moment. This orcish woman takes a big haymaker swing, comes in with another haymaker, and just completely whiffs both times as Dusog squares off again and continues working his fight. Tries a nice combo. Okay, that's with fear. That is 13 plus 3. 13, so that's 16 total. That will hit. And before I roll damage, I'm going to mark a stress to make this a combo strike. And I will roll... Let's see. We'll roll our combo die first. That's 2. That's 4. That's an extra 6 points of damage. He comes in with that 1-2 punch. So an extra 6 on top of... that's 10... Plus 11 is 21, plus 6 is 27. Ooh, so close. Still just major damage. Does not quite hit that severe threshold. Gets in 2 shots to the face. The brawler will counterpunch. 7 plus 3 is 10. That one will miss. And then I will spend another fear to... that was a roll with fear, so I have Spotlight. And I will spend a fear on the body slam action again. As tired of swinging and missing, this orc just reaches out and tries to wrap her arms around Dusog as he sort of dances out of the way. And dance out of the way he does. She comes in for the clinch, misses. He comes around and swings for the back of her head. That is 7 plus 4 is 11. Plus 3 is 13. That's with hope. But it is a miss. So he comes for the swing. She ducks out of the way. Immediately rises up, swinging. Let's go ahead and spend another fear. She tries to grab him again. Finally gets a grip on him. Lifts him up off the ground. Slams him down into the sawdust floor of the tavern. Where he will take... she slams him down. He gets to make a reaction roll of 15. I'm going to burn a hope. On floats like a butterfly to see if he can sneak his way out of this. This is a strength reaction roll of strength or agility. So we'll go make this an agility reaction roll. So this is plus 6. And with the 12. 13 plus 6 is 19. We will succeed. So she gets her grip. She lifts him up. She goes to slam him to the ground, but he just essentially just drops out of her arms and comes back up and takes another swing. That is going to be 9, 10, 11, 12, and misses. She's going to punch him. She's going to punch him in the face. 11, 12, 13, 14. That will beat. It's 13 evasion. So finally, there's been ducking, there's been bobbing, there's been moving. But our orc is having none of it. And after he misses a shot, she counter punches and does 19 points of damage with that shot. So it's a major punch across the face. We're just going to take that. Major damage. And respond in kind. So we punched. Dusog stumbles backwards. A spectator grabs him and shoves him forward. Back into the ring. He shakes his head a little bit. Ducks a punch from her. Comes back up swinging. Going for the jaw. We're going to... Should we burn a hope? Nah, we're not going to burn a hope on this fight. We're just going to hope that we get it. And comes back up swinging. That is cocked. That is a miss, but with hope. So that's nice. His world a little bit rocked by that solid punch. Dusog swings wildly and misses. And the orc, feeling like she's on the prowl now, ducks back in and focuses on taking, just continuing to lay punches onto his face. But he's a slippery little bugger and dodges the punch. Comes back up swinging. And with a critical success, we're going to go ahead and just say he just comes up, rising up. You know, he ducks one punch, just comes back around and lays a vicious right cross across the face, followed by a vicious left hook, doing 32 plus 42, 50, 55, 59 points of damage, which will be severe damage and will knock the bruiser out. And there's some scattered applause, some grumbling. Some people bet the wrong way, and everybody in our party is going to gather 2 bags of gold from this little escapade. Dusog staggers back up to the bar, wiping some blood from, that shot that he took to the face. Kind of adjusts his nose back into place and snorts. And the bartender sets him up with a whiskey, says, "On the house." And he takes it to drink it. And, Teresh just looks at him and says, "Barbaric. Barbaric," she says. Arabius says, "Oh, I don't know. This is a fine pastime. Reminds me of home." And they kind of look at each other for a moment and laugh. And it's at about this time that a kid comes running in and comes up to Arabia with a slip of paper. She takes the slip of paper, she hands him a couple of coins, and he goes dashing off again, and she reads it, and it just reads, the name of a town, which will be... We'll go South Yonder. And it just says monster. And that's all that was able to be put out before the end of the telegraph. This is the end of the message. It says monster and then 3 letters. Our 3 heroes will look at each other. Dusal will go, well, I guess it's time. We saddled up, rode our way to... Where the hell is this? This is, where the hell is South Yonder? And we'll cut from that scene. Okay, so cutting from that scene, I guess we will ride across the desert. And the question is, what do they encounter on our way to South Yonder? I guess one thing they'll encounter is going to be at least one long rest. But before we get to that, let's see how many days ride it is to South Yonder from where they're at via their horses. It's about a 6-day ride. So they're riding out towards South Yonder. And the question is, what do they encounter on their way there? Are they prepared for a 6-day ride? I suppose they are. They've been doing this for a little while. And we will... We will roll a luck roll. Hope or fear? Hope, the monster is moving towards them. Fear, it's moving away. Oh, that is decidedly a roll with fear. So we're going to do things a little bit So let's see. They're on the hunting phase. And in the hunting phase, we're supposed to mark down for long rests and short rests. There's a counter that we're supposed to keep track of. And that will build the number of d12s that we roll for the power of Kudamat, the god, when they finally arise. I think we're just going to assume that this is going to take us a long time. So, rather than play all of that out, we will say that they are in... we make it to the town of South Yonder, and it takes 6 days to ride there, we decided. 1, 2... which is all 10 of our marks. So that is as long as it could possibly take to do anything in this campaign. Or at least the maximum number of dice that we can roll for Kudamat's power if this Colossus is defeated. And they come to the town. Got a better idea. We'll start counting once they get to the town of South... what did I say the town was? South Yonder. So after many days of riding, and our heroes will ride into the town of South Yonder. They are met with a scene of almost complete devastation. Even though it has been several days, the people here are really have gathered to the center of town and have managed to bury their dead. The people are still shell-shocked. The center of town is in complete ruins, and there's a gigantic scar in the earth where something has gone lumbering off to the west. And they will stop, and I believe that Saribia is the only one of these characters with any presence at all. Comes into town, and they see some people working on trying to gather up the remains of one of the buildings that's been shattered. And they're just kind of stacking wood and clearing, just trying to clear the rubble. It's been days of work to do this. There aren't that many people who live here, and well, frankly, a lot of them are dead. And so the survivors are just kind of trying to clean up and figure out, you can see this building is being this rubble is being cleared. They're sorting into usable material and not usable material, and there's stuff going on here. And Arabia will come up to one of the people working there, a stoutish Earthkin individual, a pure Earthkin, not like Arabia and Dusog, who are only part Earthkin and part Skykin. This is a much sturdier and more rocky individual who is digging up and moving stuff. And she will say, "Excuse me, friend. Can you tell me what happened here?" And we'll roll a presence roll just to see if it's, we'll call this a fairly low DC. Let's say 10. Alright, let's roll with hope. And terms of visitors. Well, looks like I don't know what happened exactly. They say, you know, that steam engine come to life and just tore everything all to hell, is what they say. I mean, you can see where it went. He points out of town. You can see that there's a clear furrow of churned up dirt heading out of town. And they will kind of... A steam engine, how did that... did it jump the tracks or what? No, come to life. Grew legs. Big old horn started smashing through the town. Did you see it? Did he see it? Six, 5, 11. No. No, I didn't see it. Could be that I don't rightly know that anybody who saw it lived to tell the tale. Come tell the truth. If you don't mind. And he just turns back to his work. Starts reconstructing the town. So they're going to interview a bunch of people and see if they can find anybody who actually saw this beast. Anybody in town at all. That's a 19 with hope, which on my little oracle is a yes and. So they find somebody and they can glean some interesting information from this person who tells them how jerkily this creature moved, that it seemed to swing its head and then stop and crackle and crush and crunch and then eventually begin to swing its head back, and that it had something it kicked up some debris and seemed to not like being, as it seemed to be protective of its belly. But that's all they can get from this particular person. But they've learned a little bit about the creature and about its habits and what it looks like when it attacks. And they will continue then to follow the tracks and see if they can hunt this guy down. So the first thing we'll make is Terrace will make a roll. An instinct roll. And we're going to roll against the difficulty of the creature, which is... Let's see, its highest difficulty is 15, so we'll go with that. So burn a hope on Desert Fox, and we'll see if we can get a 15. Okay, so that's 14. Plus 3 on Desert Fox is 17. Plus 3 for Instinct is 20. So we do, in fact, manage to... And this is not terribly difficult, but as they head out of town and as the footsteps get farther and farther apart, it becomes to be kind of difficult to tell what has happened. I'll say on that 20 that they're able to it's moving away from them. So we'll just roll to see if we come upon this thing right now. Hope or fear. Nah, that's a little risky. I'm gonna say we're gonna oracle this. And we're going to say it's unlikely that they will reach them, so we're going to give ourselves disadvantage on this oracle roll. Nonetheless, even at disadvantage, that's a 17 minus 4, but with fear. So they make good tracks towards them. So yes, but. So yes, they managed to make a good... They managed to follow the tracks of this creature and get to a point, but not today. They remain a little bit behind. And we'll take a rest before they get to there. So they will make their rest moves. And they will clear their stress and etc. Okay. And we will see that they come up and they come upon riding through, they come upon a scene of horror and devastation as they hear from far away as they're riding in. They come upon another town being stomped and destroyed by this creature, Dakatadae, and they will rush in as this town is kind of railroad cars are scattered about. Somehow something has caught fire. The streets of the town are, people are running and rushing away from this stomping fury that is rising up on its hind legs and stomping down and swinging its head and crushing these people's homes, and a terrible devastation is taking place as our heroes, such as they are, rush to engage. This creature has some features that we'll see. So as they come in, Aribia is going to take up her usual position at very far range, because that's a rifle. She will try to find a nice sniperly place to sit, camp out, and prepare as Dusog and Terrace go rushing in. While she is at it, as they get closer, Aribia makes a spellcast roll with her spellcast. She uses, I believe, agility to cast spells. She's looking for a 13. That's a 10. That's a 12. That's with hope. Plus 3 is 15, so she makes that. She makes it with hope, and a veil of darkness stretches between her and the creature as it is stomping into the town. Only she can see through the veil of darkness, and she has advantage on attacks on the other side of the veil. As Terrace and Dusog approach and get within melee range, she will therefore take a shot at advantage. She will shoot as she typically does. She starts out shooting for the head. Okay, we'll get a fear out of that, and that is a 15, 19. That will definitely hit. Unfortunately, it just pings off of the head and does no damage at all. And now, because I rolled with fear, Dakatadae, the Cleaver, will get to go. So, first things first. We're going to mark a stress to make a head toss action against all targets who are within range. The range is melee. I think that Dusog and Terrace are melee fighters, so they have moved up into melee range, and they will be among the creatures that are making an attack. So this is a standard attack. Plus 2. That's a 3. Plus 2 is 5. That will miss Terrace, whose evasion is 11, and it will definitely miss Dusog with his evasion of 13. So they managed to dodge out of the way of this massive Cleaver. The Cleaver now has 2 tokens on it. And I'm going to spend a fear to... I'm going to say that either the forelegs or the hind legs can attack. If the head is attacking at melee, then they're very close to the forelegs, but they're not very close to the hind legs. So it will take 2 stomps, 1 at Terrace, 1 at Dusog. The first one, I think I already spent my fear. Did I already spend my fear? Let's say I did. First foreleg stomp. This segment's standard attack is made with advantage and can target a group. Okay, so it will target both of them. With advantage. 17. 19. That will hit. Stomp does 2d10 plus 8 damage. They will both take 15 plus 8 is 23 damage. 23 damage will be for Terrace major damage. Mark an armor, mark a hit point. And it will be major damage for Dusog, who will mark an armor, mark a hit point. Then it will attack with the other foreleg. Massive Hoof, passive. This can attack a group. The 2. It attacks with advantage. 17. Six plus 8 is 14 damage. So it does that. It does 14 damage. That is major damage against Terrace. And that is minor damage against Dusog, who will simply, I believe, take the damage. So that's that for the forelegs. I spent a fear. Okay. So it hits, and it does some damage. And now we get to what our characters will do. He will climb onto the foreleg. And he will make an agility roll to attempt to do that. Seems fair. I think he will make an attack against the torso. He will climb up and attempt to attack the torso. So first for the climb. We'll burn a hope. I don't think we can. I can't use floats like a butterfly here. That's just ridiculous. It's standard agility +3. Difficulty is whatever the leg's difficulty is. He does not make it onto the leg. Well, he only makes it onto the... 1 second. Let's do a quick read on how to do this, because I'm not sure if you need to roll to get onto a segment. You're running this campaign. You'll need to build a Colossus. Build some segments can be broken, etc., etc. It doesn't say. You know, it doesn't say. Okay, here we go. PCs can climb onto each Colossus segment unless the segment notes otherwise in its stat block. Once a PC is on a segment, they can usually move around that segment. To move to an additional segment, the PC must make the appropriate action roll, usually agility or strength, to leap onto it. So I'm going to say that it takes an agility roll to get onto any segment. And so Dusog fails to do that. The... let's see. We're going to take an action to clear a token from the head. You're going to spend a fear to activate the forelegs again. But I am going to say that our players were intelligent enough to split the group. So that each one can only be attacked one at a time. So this one's after Dusog. Uh, 12. That misses. I get a fear back. The four-leg stomp against Terrace. Wow, that one misses too. I get a fear for that. The head cannot attack this turn. We've decided that the hind legs can't attack if the forelegs can attack. We're going to switch back to Aribia. Aribia, having had no luck with the head, is going to shoot for the torso. And see if that works. And she will spend a hope on Sniper to make this a roll with a +6. She's still shooting through her barrier, so she has advantage on this attack. Okay, gets the hope back. That's 19 plus stuff. That will hit. 2d8 plus 5 damage. Ten plus 5 is 15. 15 on the torso is minor damage. And then Terrace. You know, it's one of those things. You're playing a druid. You're like, I guess I'll wild shape. And yeah, I guess I will. Terrace wild shapes into her pouncing predator lion form, which gains advantage on attack, climb, and sneak. And she will attempt to climb onto the leg of the left foreleg of this monster. So difficulty, I think we said 15. Difficulty 14. Easy enough. With that critical success, she scrambles up. The lion is on the leg. She will clear a stress. She will gain a hope. And she will make her... she will make her attack, and she will also, seeing that the torso took damage, Terrace will attack the torso. Let's see. Yeah, she can scramble up to within melee range of the torso from the leg, because they're adjacent. And I believe you can usually make an attack on an adjacent segment. That's the rules I've been following so far. Let's make sure that these are the rules that we should be playing with. Let's see. You know, it doesn't really say. And I think I'm going to say that to be within melee of a segment, you have to be on that segment. So she is going to attack the segment that she is on, which is the left foreleg. So this is a attack of... plus 4. Looking for a 14. So that's with fear. That's a 9 plus 4 is 13. And she will miss. The Colossus will clear another token from its head. It will attempt to stomp with both forelegs. On Dusog. It's an 11. That's a 17 because it gets advantage on these attacks. And it will do 2d10 of damage to him. (2d10 plus 5), that's 20. Dusog will take 20 damage. Which is major damage. Mark a hit point. Take an armor. Not looking great, buddy. And it will stomp at him with the other foreleg. That's a hit. Not a critical. That will do 14, 56, that's 19 damage. Again, major damage. to Dusog, who will take an armor and a hit point. Play goes back to the players. Dusog is tired of getting wailed on by this creature's foreleg and is going to punch the right foreleg as hard as he can, spending a hope on stings like a bee. So rolling at +6. Okay, gets his hope back. And that's an 18 plus that's 20. That definitely hits. That definitely hits, and he will do 2d10 plus 2d6 of damage to the leg. What do we got here? 5, that was a 5, and 5 is 10, plus 8, plus it's 19. 19, which on this particular creature is major damage. So you'll do major damage to the right foreleg, which is the one that he's looking at. And rolled with hope, so that will give Terrace an attack on the left foreleg, the one that she is sitting on. And she has advantage on attack rolls. So this is +4 plus advantage. She will crit. Nice. So she savages into this leg and does 2d8 plus 6 damage. So that's 16 plus 6 is 22 plus 2d8s. $32 damage, which is severe damage. So she savages this leg, and the left leg is collapsed. Aribius sees this collapse of this leg, sees that, and chooses to shoot at the left foreleg to try to, the right foreleg where Dusog is, to try to slow this creature down and stop it from moving. She sees the leg collapse. She immediately responds by spending a hope on Sniper. So this is +6 plus advantage. Okay. That's with hope, so we get our hope back. Oops. Okay, so that's 8 plus 7 plus 6 is more than 14. And she does 2d8 plus 5 damage. 12 plus 5 is 17. 17 damage is 17 damage is major damage. Let's put this pen away. 17 damage is major damage. That will collapse the forelegs of the creature. And if both forelegs are destroyed, which they are, the Dakatadae is collapsed permanently. So it is now just grounded down into the ground. However, I'm going to spend a fear to have it swing its head at all targets which are in melee range, which I believe is going to be on the ground is going to be Dusog. And because she would have to have jumped off the leg is collapsed. So I'm going to say that this is going to be at both Dusog and Terrace. But that's a 3 and it will miss. I will get a fear. So you really can't do much else besides that. PCs are now able to climb directly onto the torso and head. So, Dusog will attempt to climb onto the head. Actually, we're going to start with Aribia attempting to climb onto the head, onto the torso. She will succeed. She will succeed with fear. I will clear a token from the head. This collapsed creature lunges forward and tries to stomp on Dusog with one of its hind legs. With advantage. That 18 will hit. And it does 2d10 damage. So that's 8 plus 5 is 13. Which is minor damage that Dusog will just take. Let's have... Terrace is on the torso, so she will attack with advantage. And attack the torso. $12. Nope. That's a 9, so that's with hope. Get a hope. Terrace. Terrace will get a hope. She will do 2d8. I believe it's plus 1. No, it's plus 6. Alright, so that is 16 damage, which is just at the major threshold. That was a roll with hope, so we keep active. Aribia, seeing that damage is done to the torso, will also take a shot. Also with advantage, and because she's firing through her dark cloud. That will definitely hit with hope. She will also do 2d8 plus damage. So that's 6 plus 5 is 11. That is minor damage on the torso. We will clear a stress. And we will clear a broken token. And we will swing with the hind legs at Dusog. That's a miss. The other hind leg attempts to stomp at Dusog. He can't be very close to both of them. He's only very close to one of them. So that's a miss. That's about all the Cleaver can do. So again, Terrace is going to attack the torso. I gotta quit dropping dice. And again, she will hit and gain a hope. But unlike last time, she does no damage. Because the creature is immune to damage at this particular moment, for whatever reason. Dusog, tired of being kicked, is going to go and punch one of the hind legs. Gets behind it and punches. We'll spend a hope on stings like a bee. So this is plus 6. Uh, 5, 8 plus 6 is 14. 14 is the difficulty. Okay. 8, 9, 14. So that is 1 damage to that hind leg. And Aribia will, seeing Dusog attacking the hind leg and noticing that the torso took no damage, she will shoot at that leg as well. Spending a hope on Sniper. That's with hope. And that's a hit. Eight plus 5 is 13. That's another damage to that leg. And we're just going to say that everybody is acted, so we're going to give the Dakatadae a chance to attack again. Um... It's going to make a standard attack against... It kind of wrenches itself around and takes a swing at Dusog. Nine plus 2 is 11. It misses. Okay. So it misses, I get a fear. Backwards kick. We're going to try to take a kick at Dusog. And this is just a straight up agility roll. He has to make an agility roll of difficulty 14 or take physical damage. I think he can go ahead and spend a hope. For this one, on floats like a butterfly. So this will be a +6 roll for him. Which will make it. Okay. So, no hope or fear, because it's a reaction roll, so he misses the hind legs kick. And punches the hind legs again. Why not? That's why not. He will miss, I think. Yeah. The creature will attempt to cleaver him again. It will miss. I will spend a fear to attack with the hind leg to try to stomp him. 10, 11, that's minimalist. That misses. Holy moly. Come on. This is a slog. The cleaver misses. Everything misses. We'll go with the Ribia shooting at the hind leg that Dusog is next to. I can't get any more fear, but that's definitely a hit. Okay, so that hind leg collapses on that shot. The Cleaver will cleave at Dusog again. This time, on that 17, it will hit. The creature will mark a stress. The head puts one token down. It will deal 3d20 plus 12 damage. Okay, so that's 4, that's 12, that's 9, so that's 20... Is that a 9? Yeah, that's a 9. That's 4, that's 12, that's 9. That's 21. Plus 12 is 33 damage to Dusog. He takes a massive cut with this cleaver. That is definitely his severe damage. He will mark an armor. He will take 2 hit points, but remains standing. Terrace, who has been ripping at the torso, will now make a torso attack. Well, no. Yeah, because it doesn't really have much else it can do. So I think it's out of actions. So she will attack the torso. Because she's been tearing at it, hoping to get through its armor. 9 plus 5 is 14, 15, 16. Plus stuff. Its difficulty for the torso is 14, so that definitely hits. This is 2d8 plus 6 damage. Because it is broken, and that is enough damage that with that, she tears the creature apart and gets a claw in, and with a shriek of metal, Dakatadae shudders and collapses fully. It has been kind of collapsed on its front legs. And that's that. So we'll wrap up there. That was a long battle, and there wasn't much to it. I feel like maybe I should have allowed the Colossus to use both its forelegs and its hind legs against the group, but don't know. Anyway, that's Rolling Solo for today. If you want a Rolling Solo hoodie, go ahead and go buy one at the Etsy shop. If you're watching this on YouTube, go ahead and like and subscribe, especially if you've made it this far. And, you know, until next we meet, y'all keep rolling.